Hey guys, welcome out to the range. Today I wanted to talk with you about something that recently kind of came to my attention. I used to have a piece of tape over the top of this RMR, what is this, 04, no wait, RMR 06, I forget. Actually I think it's RMR 04. This is the fiber optic 7 MOA, and I always do this every time that I say 7 MOA because people lose their mind. If you take this optic, which is fiber optics driven, and you compare it to an RMR 06 side by side, and I've already done this, okay? I put this side by side and I showed it to my fiance because I have another gun that has a standard RMR on it. And I held it up beside Tanya and I said, I want you to look through this optic, and I want you to look through this optic, the battery driven one, and tell me what the difference is. She says, well, the color. She goes, but the fiber optics driven one, or the fiber optics one looks crisper. And here's why she says that. For you to clearly see the RMR 06, battery-driven RMR, clearly in bright daylight, you have to crank it up. And actually it cranks itself up. They're optically driven. They actually dial themselves up and down, which is a really nice feature because if your gun is sitting primarily in a holster, under a shirt, or just in a dark space, that battery is going to last a longer period of time. So you're going to get the full life, although guys, trade out your battery once a year, period. Just trade it out. But anyways, when I showed it to her, she said this one, the fiber optics one, was clearer, and here's why I think. This is 7 MOA, so the circle is very distinct and round with very crisp edges. And right now, there's a target in a distance that is, I'm going to say, 45, almost 50 yards, frankly. And this dot cleanly fits inside, so the target is 10 inches and this dot sits inside of that. So if that were a man's chest, I could hit him from 50 yards as long as I understand my holdovers, which at 50 yards technically it's a hold under. It's kind of weird the way 9mm flies, but the optic works beautifully. No batteries. The other reason, okay, I took the tape off because the tape kept peeling off, and I finally said forget about it. The other thing that it does is, in low light, this is so effective at pulling in light. Between this and the tritium vial that's inside of this, it's so effective at pulling in light that what I was actually able to get was a really useful sight picture in total darkness that allowed me to get my visual cues on the target and take my shot. And now that we're entering fall, I'm going to come out here on some evenings where the sun goes down at 6 o'clock and actually show this to you guys. Just even a little bit of scattered light is more than enough to capture this optic and get a nice clean sight picture and take your shot. This optic has turned this handgun, which with all honesty was only intended to be a test bed for me. And this gun has become so trustworthy after running it in 4 classes, I believe it is. 4 classes now. Several thousand rounds. Okay, I'm sorry. 4 classes and several thousand rounds on my own. This has now become my EDC gun. And it has become an absolute joy to work with because I never have to think about it. It's always on. It's always waiting. It is crisp like RMR glass is supposed to be. It works really, really well. And so I just wanted to let you guys know, if you have a piece of tape on this, guys, take it off. For zeroing purposes, yes, put the tape on, because when you're zeroing, you want that dot to be dialed down as crisp and clean as possible. But once you've got that sucker dialed in, forget about it. Just go ahead and peel it off. And the other question is going to be, how do I zero? I zero with a 10-yard zero for handgun, and if I remember correctly, that equates to, I forget what the variance was. I think the variance at 25 yards was like the span of a thumbnail, if I remember correctly. So you're talking about, so what that really equates to is I'm aiming to hit the guy on his shirt button. I might hit him just slightly below or slightly above. Right? Yeah, someone's going, well, duh. Well, yeah, what that equates to is I might miss by that much. That's 25 yards, guys. 25 yards. If you do a 10-yard zero, crisp and clean, sandbagging that gun, and just isolating that gun as much as possible so that there's very little movement, and you take your sweet time. And here's the other key: you must zero with carry ammo. Please do not zero with this crap training ammo. This stuff is wildly inconsistent. You have to zero with your carry ammo, otherwise you're going to get some weird variances that are just going to kill your accuracy. So what I did was I came out here with a 115 grain jacketed hollow point, and I zeroed with it. I also train with a 115 grain full metal jacket. So unlike most people that carry 124 grain gold dot spear, but they train with 115 grain because it costs less than 124, well, your flight patterns are different enough between the two bullets that you are going to notice something. You're going to notice a difference at distance. And why have an optic on your handgun if it isn't distance capability that you're after? Because someone made a really good point recently, and it is a handgun for truly defensive purposes, which is known as fighting in the hole, bad breath range. So we're talking about this type of a distance between me and you. For fighting in the hole, dude, you don't need anything, including sights. Because all that is basically scrapping with the gun. There's a whole lot of shoving and a whole lot of that kind of thing. So what this is for, is for reaching way out and popping shots off at something or someone in the distance to keep them at bay or change their behavior. So you don't get sucked down the hole of the things that you think you need to have just because someone is standing in front of the camera and telling you that you gotta. Because a lot of those people are being paid to tell you these things, and this channel is not monetized, and the things that I tell you come A, out of pocket, so I'm paying for everything, B, they come out of experience. So take it for what you will, ignore it, I don't really care, but I will always do my best to give you guys truth. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I thank you guys for making purchases on the YouTube, on tier1citizen.com. Those purchases keep me financially alive, and if I haven't already said that, by the time you see this video, I may or may not already be married. I've been through divorce, and I'm getting remarried soon, and I need to buy a vehicle because I now have 2 young children in my life again, and I need to schlep them around for everything. So I love it. I actually love it. I live with joy and happiness in my heart. Thank you all for watching. God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.